The autumn chill in Willow Creek, Vermont, always brought a quiet beauty that Amanda Harrison cherished. At 62, she lived a serene, retired life in her charming single-family home, nestled among the vibrant maples and stately oaks. After dedicating 40 years to teaching English literature at the local high school, she had retired 2 years ago, finally finding the space to breathe, to reflect, and to simply be. Every morning, she would make her way to the backyard, her gaze drawn to the ancient oak tree her late husband, Robert, had planted when they first moved in decades ago. Watching the red and gold leaves dance in the crisp wind, she would quietly reflect on memories with Robert. 5 years had passed since his unexpected passing from a sudden aneurysm, but Amanda had, surprisingly, grown accustomed to living alone. There was a certain peace in the quiet rhythm of her days, a gentle solitude she had come to enjoy. She filled her time with gardening, reading, and volunteering at the local library, her days marked by a comfortable tranquility. Amanda's greatest joy, however, was the time she spent with her son David and his family. David, a man of quiet integrity, worked as a structural engineer for a respected firm in Burlington. His wife, Sarah, held a part-time position as a marketing assistant at a small, upscale boutique downtown, working 3 days a week. But most of all, what truly warmed Amanda's heart was her granddaughter, Chloe. Chloe was a sophomore at the State University, pursuing a double major in astrophysics and computer science. She was an exceptionally brilliant student, and her dedication had even earned her a partial scholarship, alleviating some of the financial strain. With her long auburn hair pulled back in a practical ponytail, and bright, inquisitive green eyes, she bore a striking resemblance to Amanda in her own youth, a reflection that always brought a pang of bittersweet nostalgia and immense pride. Chloe adored her grandmother. Even after starting college, she called regularly, sharing tales of her studies and campus life, and sometimes surprised Amanda with weekend visits, filling the quiet house with her vibrant energy and infectious laughter. Once a month, without fail, David's family would gather at Amanda's house for dinner. Sarah, an excellent cook, always brought a special dish, often a complex, gourmet creation that impressed everyone. Amanda particularly treasured her relationship with her daughter-in-law. At first, Sarah had been a bit nervous, almost overly eager to please, but over time, she had blossomed, treating Amanda with the warmth and affection of a real daughter. "Thank you so much, Mother Amanda," Sarah would always say, gently taking Amanda's hand across the dinner table, her voice soft and sincere, "for accepting us as your real family. It means the world." Amanda would smile, her heart swelling with affection. "You're my precious daughter, Sarah, and you're such a wonderful mother to Chloe. You've brought so much light into our lives." David, though often busy with demanding projects at work and sometimes looking visibly tired, radiated an undeniable love for his family. Like his father, Robert, he was responsible, dedicated, and worked tirelessly to provide for them. Amanda was profoundly proud of her son's unwavering efforts and his quiet strength. "Your son really turned out well, Amanda," neighbors would often say during their morning walks, admiring David's steady demeanor and respectable career. "And your granddaughter, Chloe, is so accomplished too. We're truly envious." Amanda felt truly blessed. She was healthy, financially stable, and surrounded by a loving family that brought her immense comfort. With her teacher's pension, coupled with her prudent retirement savings, she had enough to live comfortably, enjoying her golden years without a shadow of financial worry. She had also carefully managed and invested the life insurance money Robert had left her, ensuring a secure future. When Chloe's college admission was finalized, Amanda's heart had nearly burst with joy. She remembered the day Chloe had shared her dreams, her eyes sparkling with unbridled enthusiasm. "Grandma, I want to study astrophysics and someday work at NASA, maybe even contribute to space exploration," Chloe had declared, her passion palpable. What a magnificent goal! Amanda had hugged her granddaughter tightly, tears pricking her eyes. "I know you'll achieve extraordinary things, my dear. You have the intellect and the drive." Sarah had also smiled proudly, adding, "Chloe has grown into such a kind and brilliant child. It's partly thanks to your wisdom and guidance, Mother Amanda." At their regular family gatherings, warm conversations flowed effortlessly, like a gentle river. David would talk about his latest engineering projects, sometimes sketching complex designs on a napkin, his eyes alight with professional enthusiasm. Sarah would report on neighborhood happenings, sharing amusing anecdotes from her boutique, and Chloe would regale them with fun, often humorous, episodes from her college life, her stories bringing a lively energy to the room. Amanda would listen quietly, a contented smile on her face, wishing these happy, precious times could stretch out forever, suspended in a timeless bubble of familial warmth. Especially her relationship with Chloe was special, a unique bond woven from shared moments and unspoken understanding. From early childhood, Chloe had read picture books on Amanda's lap, their voices harmonizing as they explored new worlds. They had baked countless batches of her grandmother's famous apple pie, flour dusting their aprons and laughter echoing through the kitchen. They had spent hours in the garden, planting vibrant flowers, their hands covered in rich soil, nurturing beauty together. Even now, as a mature college student, Chloe valued her grandmother's opinions above almost anyone else's, often seeking her out for profound life advice, her youthful dilemmas finding solace in Amanda's seasoned wisdom. "Grandma is my best supporter," Chloe would often say, her voice full of affection. "I can tell you anything, things I can't even tell Mom or Dad." For Amanda, there could be no greater happiness. Though she still grieved the profound loss of her beloved husband, her son's family, particularly Chloe's vibrant presence, truly gave her life renewed meaning and abundant joy. Every day, she offered quiet prayers of gratitude to God for her continued health, her loving family, and the peaceful, fulfilling days she was blessed with. 2 years had passed since Chloe started at the state university. At first, Amanda had felt a slight pang of loneliness about her granddaughter leaving home, the house feeling a little too quiet without Chloe's occasional bursts of energy. But now, watching her granddaughter's growth, her blossoming into a confident, brilliant young woman, had become Amanda's greatest pleasure. The university was about an hour's drive away, and Chloe lived in the bustling campus dormitory, immersed in her academic pursuits and vibrant student life. Every Thursday night, without fail, Amanda would call Chloe. It was their special, cherished time together, a ritual they both looked forward to. Chloe's voice on the other end was always full of energy, bubbling with fresh experiences. "Grandma, this week I had an incredible astrophysics lab. We simulated a black hole's gravitational pull, and it was absolutely mind-blowing." Chloe's voice was filled with palpable excitement, a testament to her deep passion for her studies. Amanda listened with warm feelings, her heart swelling with pride. "That's wonderful, dear. Your mind is truly remarkable. You know, since you used to be an English teacher, Grandma, I feel like I learned so much from your stories and your way of thinking," Chloe had said once. "I want to be like that, too. I want to become an adult who can truly understand complex ideas and express them clearly, just like you." These conversations were Amanda's most enjoyable time of the week. Chloe would talk not just about her rigorous studies and groundbreaking projects, but also about her relationships with friends, her budding campus leadership roles, and her ambitious future dreams. Sometimes there were even light-hearted romantic consultations. "Actually, there's this boy named Noah in my computer science class," Chloe had said somewhat shyly, her voice barely a whisper. "He's incredibly smart and kind, and he actually gets my jokes about quantum mechanics." "Oh, how nice," Amanda had answered with a gentle smile, a warmth spreading through her. "But studies come first, remember that. But I'm happy you've met someone good, just don't tell Mom yet. We're not actually dating yet, and you know how she gets." "Of course, Grandma's lips are sealed," Chloe had giggled. Through these intimate, candid conversations, Amanda could feel that Chloe was growing up healthily, flourishing in her academic and personal life. Her grades remained consistently excellent, a testament to her diligence. And last year, she had even won the prestigious Dean's Award for Academic Excellence. She continued to receive her partial scholarship, which significantly reduced the financial burden on David and Sarah. One afternoon, Linda visited Dorothy's house. She was alone, which was unusual. Unlike her usual bright expression, she seemed tired somehow. "Mother-in-law, I need to talk to you about something," Linda said while drinking tea in the kitchen. "What is it? Is something worrying you?" Dorothy asked gently. "Actually, it's about Ashley's college life. She's getting a scholarship, but it's not enough. There are dormitory fees, textbook costs, and food expenses." Linda showed a troubled expression. Dorothy was surprised. "Really? I heard from Thomas that things were financially okay. I don't want to worry my husband. The construction industry is in a recession, and his salary has been cut too. My part-time income is limited," Linda sighed. "But I don't want Ashley to give up her dreams." Dorothy's heart warmed. She could feel that Linda truly cared about Ashley. "You've been worrying about this so much. Why didn't you consult me sooner? You've always taken care of us, and I didn't want to burden you further." Linda's eyes filled with tears. But Ashley sometimes can't participate when her friends go out, going to movies, having coffee at cafes, even such small things. Dorothy made her decision immediately. "You don't need to hold back about such things. Ashley is my precious granddaughter. How much do you need?" About $1,000 a month would probably let her live comfortably at college, but such a large amount, $1,000 is no problem. "I wish you had told me sooner." Dorothy stood up. "I have the savings that John left me. There's no better use for it than my granddaughter's education." Linda cried tears of gratitude. "Thank you so much. Thomas knows about this too, so please don't worry. Of course we're family." Dorothy took Linda's hand. "Let's keep this a secret from Ashley. She's a proud child and might feel it's a burden." From that day on, Dorothy began transferring $1,000 every month to an account that Linda specified. Linda explained, "I created an account just for Ashley," and Dorothy agreed without suspicion. Several months passed, and Ashley's college life seemed increasingly fulfilling. Their phone conversations were as enjoyable as ever, and her grades remained excellent. Dorothy was convinced her decision had been correct. "Grandma, I've been going out with friends more lately. We go to cafes together and see movies," Ashley said happily. "That's wonderful. College friendships are treasures for life." Dorothy smiled with satisfaction. Thomas remained busy with work and often looked tired at family gatherings. Dorothy, concerned about her son, told him, "Don't worry about Ashley's college expenses." But Thomas was reluctant, saying, "I can't burden you, Mom. Linda consulted with me." "We're family, so we help each other," Dorothy gently persuaded him. "Thank you, Mom. It really helps," Thomas answered with gratitude. Time passed and Ashley's birthday was approaching. Dorothy prepared a special present and looked forward to calling with birthday wishes. Linda occasionally called with gratitude. Every time she heard, "Thanks to you," Ashley can concentrate on her studies with peace of mind. Dorothy felt warm inside. One day, her neighbor friend Martha visited. She was also a grandmother, with grandchildren like Dorothy. "You're really blessed," Martha said enviously. "Your son's wife is so kind and your granddaughter is so accomplished." "I really am. I'm happy to be blessed with family," Dorothy answered from her heart. At that moment, Dorothy realized and knew how much she trusted and loved her family. The monthly $1,000 meant more than just financial support. It was an expression of love and a way to deepen family bonds. On the second Saturday of November, Ashley's birthday arrived. Dorothy's heart had been light since morning. She wanted to convey her heartfelt birthday wishes. Around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, she sat in front of the old telephone in the living room and dialed Ashley's cell phone number. "Hello?" Ashley's bright voice came through. "Ashley, happy birthday," Dorothy said with joy. "Grandma, thank you." Ashley's voice mixed with laughter. "How's college life? Still busy as always?" "Yes, but it's fun. I have midterm exams next week, so I'm studying in the library now," Ashley answered energetically. Dorothy listened with warm feelings. How diligent. But taking breaks is important too. "Do you have time to play with friends?" "Yes, I sometimes go to cafes or see movies, but I'm careful not to spend too much money." A thought suddenly came to Dorothy's mind. The $1,000 she had been sending every month for 2 years. She wanted to confirm whether Ashley was able to live comfortably at college financially. "By the way, Ashley," Dorothy changed her tone slightly, "is the $1,000 I send every month enough?" If you need anything, don't hesitate to tell me. Silence continued on the other end of the phone for a while. Dorothy gripped the receiver tighter. Huh? Ashley's voice was filled with confusion. What are you talking about? Grandma, what money? Dorothy's heart began to race. The $1,000 I send every month to support your college life since 2 years ago. Grandma, I'm not receiving any such money. Ashley's voice held genuine confusion. Really? I don't know what you're talking about. Dorothy's hands began to shake. But Linda told me. She said you needed money for college expenses, so she asked me to send $1,000 every month. Mom did. Ashley's voice rose. Grandma, I haven't heard anything like that from Mom, and I haven't received any money. I'm managing with my scholarship and part-time job money. Dorothy's world swayed. Where had the money she'd been transferring to Linda's specified account every month gone? Ashley, do you really not know? Dorothy's voice was shaking. It's true, Grandma. I don't know anything. Rather, I had no idea you were sending so much money. Ashley's voice also showed disturbance. Dorothy tried to take a deep breath, but it became difficult. I understand. I'll check with your father later. Grandma, are you okay? Your voice sounds strange, Ashley asked worriedly. I'm fine. It must be some misunderstanding. Happy birthday, Ashley. I'll contact you again. Dorothy hung up the phone with trembling hands. The silence of the living room enveloped her. Only the sound of the clock's hands echoed. Various questions swirled in her head. Had Linda lied, or was Ashley hiding something? But there was no falsehood in Ashley's voice. Her granddaughter's confusion was genuine. Dorothy stood up and dialed her son Thomas's cell phone number. Mom, what's wrong? Thomas's voice came through. He seemed to be at a work site with machinery sounds in the background. Thomas, can you talk now? Dorothy's voice had hardened. Wait a minute. After a while, he seemed to have moved to a quiet place, and the machinery sounds disappeared. What's wrong? Did something happen? Do you know that I've been sending Ashley $1,000 every month? What? Thomas's voice showed surprise. Mom's sending money. What are you talking about? Dorothy's chest tightened. Linda asked me to send $1,000 every month for Ashley's college expenses since 2 years ago. I heard you approved of it too. What's that about? Thomas's voice became shrill. Mom, I don't know anything about it. I haven't heard such a story from Linda. Dorothy sank into her chair, but Linda said it. She said Thomas knows, so don't worry. Wait, Mom. She could hear Thomas calling for Linda on the other end. After several minutes of silence, Thomas's voice came again. This time it was trembling. Mom, Linda is here. Can you put her on? Before that, I want to ask, were you really sending $1,000 every month? Yes. For 2 years. Without fail, Dorothy answered weakly. She could faintly hear Thomas and Linda talking on the other end of the phone. However, she couldn't make out the content. Eventually, Linda's voice came through, but completely different from her usual bright tone. Her voice was small and trembling. Linda, please explain. Ashley says she doesn't know anything about the money. A long silence continued. Dorothy held her breath and waited. I'm sorry. Linda's voice came through in fragments. I was lying. The blood drained from Dorothy's body. Lying? What do you mean? I didn't give Ashley a single dollar. The money Linda's voice became tearful. I used it myself. What did you use it for? Dorothy's voice became ice cold. Silence again. Then she could hear Thomas interrogating someone on the other end. Linda's crying voice was also mixed in. Eventually, Thomas returned to the phone. His voice was filled with anger and sadness. Mom, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, Thomas said in a trembling voice. Linda confessed. The money was. Linda was with another man. Dorothy was speechless. The strength left her hand holding the receiver. I really didn't know anything. I had no idea Linda was doing such things. Thomas's voice broke off. Behind my back, tears overflowed from Dorothy's eyes. The family bonds she had believed in shattered in an instant. The reality that the money she had sent with love had been used for betrayal deeply wounded her heart. Thomas, Dorothy said in a hoarse voice, Let's end the conversation here for today. I want to be alone for a while. Mom, I'm really sorry. If I had been more careful. It's not your fault. Dorothy said, summoning her strength. I'll contact you again. After hanging up, Dorothy sank deep into the living room sofa. The weight of 2 years of betrayal pressed heavily on her heart. That night, Dorothy couldn't sleep. Sitting on the living room sofa, gazing at the streetlights outside, she reflected on the events of the past 2 years. Linda's tearful voice, Thomas's shocked voice, and most of all, Ashley's confused voice repeatedly echoed in her head. The next morning, around 8 o'clock, Thomas called. Having talked all night, his voice sounded exhausted. Mom, sorry about last night. I talked with Linda. I'll tell you everything. So, can I come over now? Yes. Please come, Dorothy answered quietly. An hour later, Thomas came to Dorothy's house alone. He wasn't wearing his usual work clothes, but a wrinkled shirt. His eyes were red, clearly having not slept all night. Mom, please sit and listen. Thomas sat down on the living room sofa. Linda confessed everything. Dorothy sat in the chair across from him and waited for her son's words. 2 years ago, Linda met a man at work. Thomas began painfully. A sporting goods store manager named David Lee. Dorothy listened silently. At first, he was apparently a customer who came to the store. But as he came repeatedly, they became close. Thomas clenched his fists. Linda was dissatisfied that I was busy with work and neglecting the family. So, she started an affair, Dorothy said calmly. Yes, but that man was a big spender. Expensive restaurant meals, weekend trips, brand-name presents. Linda's part-time wages weren't nearly enough. Anger mixed into Thomas's voice. Dorothy's chest ached. So, she thought of using me. That's right. She knew that if it was for Ashley's college expenses, you would gladly provide it. Linda took advantage of your love for your granddaughter. Thomas stood up and faced the window. I really didn't know anything. Linda did mention that mother-in-law is worried about Ashley, but I never imagined she was receiving financial support. Linda said you knew too. Dorothy reflected. That was also a lie. She used my name to reassure you. Thomas turned back to look at his mother. Mom, I'm really sorry if I had paid more attention to the family. I'm not blaming you, Dorothy said gently. But how did she hide such a large amount of money? Thomas sat back down. Linda said it was an account just for Ashley, but actually she had created a personal account in her own name. I left household management to Linda, so I didn't know about that account's existence either. Dorothy shook her head. It was planned. Yes. The man, David, also apparently knew Linda had money. The two of them stayed at luxury hotels and took trips. While I was away at work, Thomas's voice shook. Where is Linda now? She went back to her parents' house. Last night, after she told me everything, I told her to get out of the house. Thomas showed an exhausted expression. I've decided to divorce her. Dorothy supported her son's decision, but at the same time felt sad about the family's collapse. Have you told Ashley? Not yet, but I have to tell her. Ashley was deceived, too. Thomas sighed deeply. Just then, the front doorbell rang. Thomas got up and went to the entrance where Ashley was standing. She seemed to have rushed from the university, out of breath. Dad, where's Mom? She hasn't answered her phone since last night, and she's not at home, Ashley said worriedly. Ashley, come in, Dorothy called out. When the three gathered in the living room, Thomas explained everything to his daughter. Ashley was first confused, then angry, and finally showed deep sadness. Mom was deceiving Grandma. Tears welled up in Ashley's eyes. Using my name? Yes. She took advantage of your grandmother's love for you. Thomas hugged his daughter. Ashley turned toward Dorothy. Grandma, I'm really sorry. I didn't know anything. You have nothing to apologize for. Dorothy took her granddaughter's hand. You're a victim, too. But because of what Mom did, Grandma suffered so much. Ashley began to cry. For the next several hours, the three talked. As the details of Linda's betrayal became clear, its calculated and malicious nature was revealed. Every month, Linda would receive the $1,000 from Dorothy and immediately use it for expenses with David. It was spent on expensive restaurant meals, weekend trips, brand name items, and cosmetics. While I was working late overtime, Linda was spending luxurious time with another man. Thomas pounded his fist on the table. Using Mom's goodwill, Ashley said in a trembling voice. I despise Mom for trampling on Grandma's love. What is Linda doing now? Dorothy asked. She seems to have gone to David's place. But he was apparently only after money, too. While Linda had money, he was kind. But when this was discovered and he realized no more money would come in, Thomas showed a bitter smile. He's already become unreachable. According to Linda's sister, Dorothy had mixed feelings. She felt anger and sadness, and at the same time pity for Linda. In the end, Linda lost everything. She brought it on herself, Thomas said coldly. Mom's trust, her marriage to me, her relationship with Ashley, and she was abandoned by the money-seeking man, too. Ashley stood up. Grandma, I'll increase my part-time work and pay back the money little by little. You don't need to do that, Dorothy said gently. You focus on your studies. You and Thomas and me, the real family, is here. That's what matters most. Dorothy looked around at the two. She had indeed lost a large sum of money and been betrayed by a family member she trusted. But the people who were truly important were still here. Her son's honesty, her granddaughter's purity, and the true love between them could not be damaged by Linda's betrayal. That night, the three had dinner together. The conversation was heavy, but they could feel the warmth of a family supporting each other. A year later, Dorothy was tending flowers in her garden. New buds were swelling on the rose bush that her late husband John had planted. The events that occurred last autumn seemed like a bad dream, but the days since then had certainly deepened the bonds between Dorothy and her family. Thomas and Linda's divorce was finalized 6 months ago. Linda was abandoned by her affair partner, David, and was now living alone in a rural town in her hometown, according to rumors. Dorothy had let go of her anger toward her. She had realized that continuing to harbor hatred would only hurt herself. Grandma, I'm here. Ashley's bright voice rang out in the garden. Looking back, Ashley was waving with a smile. She had started visiting Dorothy's house every weekend without fail. Their time together had become even more precious than before. Ashley, good work. How was the exam? Perfect. My psychology practicum report got high marks too, Ashley said proudly. I'm making good preparations for next year's job hunting. Dorothy was genuinely pleased. After that incident, Ashley had actually become more focused on her studies than before. The sense of responsibility that I must be strong had made her grow even more. Oh, I have good news. Ashley's eyes sparkled. I'm getting a full scholarship for graduate school through a dean's recommendation. Full tuition waiver. Wonderful. Dorothy hugged her granddaughter. It's the result of your hard work. It's thanks to you too, Grandma. After that incident, I learned what's really important. While preparing tea in the kitchen, Ashley talked about recent developments. Her relationships with university friends were good, and she was continuing to date Michael smoothly. How's your father? Dorothy asked. He's working hard, but he seems a little lonely. Ashley looked out the window sometimes. I think he's thinking about Mom. After the divorce, Thomas had become more family-oriented. He worked less overtime than before and always made time to spend weekends with Dorothy and Ashley. Approaching 40, he was reconsidering his life priorities. In the evening, Thomas joined them and the three had dinner together. The conversation was natural and warm without the forced brightness of before. Mom, I actually have something to discuss, Thomas said after finishing dinner. There's talk of a promotion at work, and my salary is expected to increase. That's good news, Dorothy smiled. So, I want to pay you back little by little. That's not necessary. Dorothy shook her head. That money was given out of my love for you all. Even though I was deceived, that feeling was genuine. Ashley raised her hand. I'm going to start a part-time job soon, too, so let me help a little. I appreciate your feelings, Dorothy looked at both of them. But you've learned this past year that there are things more important than money, haven't you? That was certainly true. The money lost through Linda's betrayal was a painful loss, but they had gained even more. True family bonds, trust in each other, and the strength to overcome difficulties. But Grandma Ashley became serious. We support each other. That's what family is, right? Not just about money, but emotionally, too. Dorothy felt her granddaughter's growth. Ashley now had the thinking of a mature adult. I understand, but don't overdo it. That night, the three relaxed in the living room watching television. Dorothy thought that if not for that phone call a year ago, she might never have learned the truth, and she might not have understood the true value of family. The betrayal was painful, but it also gave valuable lessons. Family is not just connected by blood, but by bonds of the heart, and true love becomes stronger through trials. Outside the window, the spring wind scattered cherry blossom petals. Like the beginning of a new season, new happiness was about to visit Dorothy's family. The wounds of the past might never completely heal, but hope for the future was certainly budding. "Grandma, thank you," Ashley whispered before going to sleep. "For being our family." Dorothy gently stroked her granddaughter's head. She truly felt that real family is connected by bonds that cannot be measured with money. One afternoon, roughly 6 months into Chloe's college journey, Sarah visited Amanda's house. She was alone, which was unusual, as she typically came with David or Chloe. Unlike her usual bright, effervescent expression, Sarah seemed noticeably tired. Her shoulders slumped, a shadow of worry clouding her eyes. "Mother Amanda, I need to talk to you about something," Sarah began, her voice unusually subdued, as they sat in the sun-drenched kitchen, sipping herbal tea. "What is it, dear? Is something worrying you?" Amanda asked gently, her concern immediately piqued. "Actually, it's about Chloe's college life," Sarah confessed, her gaze dropping to her teacup. "She's getting a scholarship, which is wonderful, but it's simply not enough. The dormitory fees have increased unexpectedly, and the cost of textbooks and specialized software for her astrophysics courses is astronomical. Then there are food expenses and just daily living costs." Sarah showed a deeply troubled expression, a furrow appearing between her brows. Amanda was genuinely surprised. "Really? I heard from David that things were financially stable. He always said he had it handled." "I don't want to worry my husband," Sarah explained, her voice a strained whisper. "The engineering industry is facing a slight recession, and his salary has been cut back a little. And my part-time income, as you know, is limited. I try to manage every penny, but it's just not enough to cover everything." Sarah sighed deeply, a wave of exhaustion washing over her face. "But I don't want Chloe to give up her dreams. Not for a lack of funds." Amanda's heart warmed, a familiar maternal instinct kicking in. She could feel that Sarah truly cared about Chloe, her distress genuine. "My dear, you've been worrying about this so much," Amanda said, reaching across the table to gently squeeze Sarah's hand. "Why didn't you consult me sooner? You know I'm here to help. You've always taken such good care of us, Mother Amanda, and I didn't want to burden you further." Sarah's eyes filled with unshed tears, her lower lip trembling. But Chloe sometimes can't participate when her friends go out, going to movies, grabbing coffee at campus cafes, even such small, normal college experiences. She misses out, and it breaks my heart. Amanda made her decision immediately, a swift and resolute certainty filling her. "You don't need to hold back about such things, Sarah. Chloe is my precious granddaughter. Her education, her happiness, her entire future. Those are paramount." She leaned forward, her gaze unwavering. "How much do you need?" Sarah hesitated, her eyes wide with a mixture of hope and embarrassment. "About $1,000 a month would probably let her live comfortably at college, allow her those small social outings, and cover any unexpected expenses. But such a large amount— $1,000 is no problem, dear. Absolutely no problem at all," Amanda said, her voice firm, rising from her chair with a renewed sense of purpose. "I wish you had told me sooner." She walked over to her writing desk, where she kept her financial records meticulously organized. "I have the savings that Robert left me. There's no better use for it than my granddaughter's education and well-being. It's what he would have wanted." Linda cried tears of gratitude, standing up and embracing Amanda tightly. "Thank you so much, Mother Amanda. I don't know what we'd do without you. And David, he knows about this too, so please don't worry. He agrees it's for Chloe's best." "Of course, we're family," Amanda said, gently taking Sarah's hand, a bond of trust seemingly solidifying between them. "Let's keep this a secret from Chloe, though. She's a proud child, as you know, and might feel it's a burden or that she's indebted to me. We want her to focus on her studies, not financial anxieties." From that day on, Amanda began meticulously transferring $1,000 every month to an account that Sarah had specified. Sarah explained, "I created a separate account just for Chloe's college expenses, Mother Amanda, so it's easy to manage and track." Amanda, without a flicker of suspicion, agreed, fully trusting her daughter-in-law. Several months passed, and Chloe's college life seemed increasingly fulfilling. Their Thursday night phone conversations were as enjoyable and vibrant as ever, filled with tales of her academic triumphs and expanding social circle. Her grades remained consistently excellent, earning her renewed scholarships and the continued admiration of her professors. Amanda was convinced her decision had been correct, a selfless act of love that was clearly bearing fruit. "Grandma, I've been going out with friends more lately," Chloe had said happily during one call. "We go to cafes together on Commonwealth Avenue and see indie movies downtown. It's so much fun getting to experience city life with them." "That's wonderful, dear. College friendships are treasures for life," Amanda had smiled, a profound sense of satisfaction warming her heart. She pictured Chloe, radiant and happy, enjoying the freedom and camaraderie of university life. David remained incredibly busy with work, his demanding engineering projects often requiring long hours. He frequently looked tired at their family gatherings, the stress etched on his face. Amanda, concerned about her son's well-being, had told him, "David, don't worry about Chloe's college expenses. I've taken care of it." But David was reluctant, his ingrained sense of responsibility making him uncomfortable with accepting help. "I can't burden you, Mom. I should be providing for my own daughter." "Sarah consulted with me about it, David." Amanda had gently persuaded him, "and we agreed it was the best course of action. We're family, so we help each other. It's not a burden. It's an honor to support Chloe's future." "Thank you, Mom. It really helps," David had answered, his voice thick with gratitude, though a hint of weary resignation still lingered in his eyes. Time continued its steady march, and Chloe's 21st birthday was approaching. Amanda had meticulously prepared a special present, a vintage telescope, a nod to Chloe's passion for astrophysics, and eagerly looked forward to calling her with heartfelt birthday wishes. Sarah occasionally called with updates, her voice always filled with profound gratitude. Every time Amanda heard, "Thanks to you, Mother Amanda, Chloe can concentrate on her studies with complete peace of mind. She's thriving." Amanda felt a warm glow spread through her, reaffirming her decision. One crisp autumn day, her neighbor and longtime friend, Eleanor Vance, visited. Eleanor, also a grandmother with grandchildren scattered across the country, understood the unique joys and anxieties of grandparenting. "You're really blessed, Amanda," Eleanor had said enviously, sipping her tea on Amanda's porch. "Your son's wife is so kind, so thoughtful, and your granddaughter, Chloe, is so incredibly accomplished. It's a joy to watch her excel." "I truly am, Eleanor," Amanda answered from her heart, looking out at her vibrant autumn garden. "I'm happy to be blessed with such a wonderful family." At that moment, Amanda realized, with an almost overwhelming clarity, how much she trusted and loved her family. The monthly $1,000 meant more than just financial support. It was a tangible expression of her boundless love, and a way, she believed, to deepen the already strong family bonds. On the second Saturday of November, Chloe's birthday arrived. Amanda's heart had been light since morning, bubbling with anticipation. She wanted to convey her heartfelt birthday wishes, to hear Chloe's excited voice, to celebrate her granddaughter's blossoming into adulthood. Around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, she sat in front of the old, reliable telephone in the living room and carefully dialed Chloe's cell phone number. "Hello!" Chloe's bright, energetic voice came through, a burst of youthful optimism. "Chloe, happy birthday, my dear," Amanda said with unrestrained joy. "Grandma, thank you so much," Chloe's voice mixed with happy laughter like wind chimes. "How's college life? Still busy as always?" Amanda inquired, picturing Chloe in her dorm room, surrounded by textbooks and star charts. "Yes, Grandma, but it's so much fun. I have midterm exams next week, so I'm practically living in the library right now," Chloe answered energetically, a hint of cheerful exhaustion in her tone. Amanda listened with warm feelings, admiring her granddaughter's diligence. How diligent you are. But taking breaks is important too, darling. Do you have time to play with friends, go out, enjoy yourself? Yes, I sometimes go to cafes or see movies, Chloe replied. But I'm always careful not to spend too much money, you know. Student budget. A thought, a tiny seed of doubt, suddenly bloomed in Amanda's mind. A subtle unease she couldn't quite shake. The $1,000 she had been diligently sending every month for 2 years. She wanted to confirm, definitively, whether Chloe was truly able to live comfortably at college financially, to ensure her precious granddaughter wasn't still holding back, despite the funds. By the way, Chloe, Amanda changed her tone slightly, trying to sound casual, though her heart had begun to pick up its pace. Is the $1,000 I send every month enough? If you need anything at all, don't hesitate to tell me. You know I'm here for you. Silence. A long, profound silence continued on the other end of the phone for what felt like an eternity. Amanda gripped the receiver tighter, her knuckles turning white, a cold knot forming in her stomach. Huh? Chloe's voice finally came through, filled not with gratitude but with utter confusion. What are you talking about, Grandma? What money? Amanda's heart began to race, a frantic drumbeat against her ribs. The $1,000 I send every month, dear, to support your college life. I've been sending it since you started 2 years ago. Grandma, I'm not receiving any such money. Chloe's voice held genuine confusion, a raw, unfeigned bewilderment that struck Amanda to her core. Really? I don't know what you're talking about. Amanda's hands began to shake uncontrollably, the old plastic receiver feeling suddenly heavy, unfamiliar. But Sarah told me. Your mother told me. She said you needed money for college expenses, for dorm fees and textbooks and social outings, so she asked me to send $1,000 every month. Mom did? Chloe's voice rose, a sharp, disbelieving crescendo. Grandma, I haven't heard anything like that from Mom, and I haven't received any money. I'm managing perfectly fine with my scholarship and the money from my part-time job at the campus library. Amanda's world swayed, a dizzying, sickening lurch. The familiar, comfortable furniture of her living room seemed to spin. The $24,000 she had transferred over 2 years. Where had it gone? Where had the money she'd been diligently transferring to Sarah's specified account every month disappeared to? Chloe, do you really not know? Amanda's voice was barely a whisper, hoarse with sudden fear and disbelief. It's true, Grandma. I don't know anything. Chloe's voice was tinged with concern, sensing her grandmother's distress. Rather, I had no idea you were sending so much money. What's going on? Amanda tried to take a deep, calming breath, but it became a painful, gasping effort. Her lungs felt constricted. I understand, dear. I'll check with your father later. Grandma, are you okay? Your voice sounds strange, Chloe asked worriedly. I'm fine, darling, Amanda forced herself to say, her voice still trembling, betraying the lie. It must be some misunderstanding. Happy birthday, Chloe. I'll contact you again. Amanda hung up the phone with trembling hands, the click of the receiver echoing loudly in the sudden, oppressive silence of the living room. Only the rhythmic ticking of the antique grandfather clock in the hall echoed through the hushed house, a relentless reminder of the passage of time, of 2 years of apparent deception. Various questions swirled in her head, a chaotic storm of confusion and mounting dread. Had Sarah lied, or was Chloe, for some inexplicable reason, hiding something from her? But there was no falsehood in Chloe's voice, no tremor of deceit. Her granddaughter's confusion had been utterly genuine. A pure, innocent bewilderment that Amanda knew in her heart could not be faked. Amanda stood up, her legs feeling strangely weak, and dialed her son David's cell phone number. Mom, what's wrong? David's voice came through, sounding somewhat muffled, as if he were in a noisy environment. She could hear the distinct, rhythmic rumble of heavy machinery in the background, signaling he was at a construction site. David, can you talk now? Amanda's voice, though still shaking, had taken on a new hard edge, a steely resolve emerging from the shock. Wait a minute, Mom, he replied, and after a short while, the machinery sounds faded, indicating he had moved to a quieter place. What's wrong? Did something happen? Do you know that I've been sending Chloe $1,000 every month? Amanda asked, directly. No preamble, her voice tight with suppressed emotion. What? Mom sending money? What are you talking about? David's voice showed genuine surprise, a stark reflection of Chloe's earlier confusion. Amanda's chest tightened further, an icy vice squeezing her heart. Sarah asked me to send $1,000 every month for Chloe's college expenses since 2 years ago. She said you approved of it too. What's that about? David's voice became shrill with alarm, then anger. Mom, I don't know anything about it. I haven't heard such a story from Sarah. Not a word. Amanda sank back into her armchair, the plush velvet offering little comfort. But Sarah said it. She said you knew, David, and that I shouldn't worry. She specifically used your name. Wait, Mom. Amanda could hear David's voice, now laced with fury, calling for Sarah on the other end, his words indistinguishable but clearly agitated. After several minutes of agonizing silence, Thomas's voice came again. This time it was trembling, raw with betrayal. Mom, Sarah is here now. Can you put her on? Before that, Amanda interjected, her voice weak but firm, demanding answers. I want to ask, David, were you really unaware of this? Was I really sending $1,000 every month for 2 years without fail for Chloe and neither of you knew? Yes, Mom. For 2 years without fail, David answered weakly, his voice a choked whisper, confirming her worst fears. She could faintly hear him and Sarah talking, or rather, arguing, on the other end of the phone, a muffled, frantic exchange. However, she couldn't make out the content, only the rising tension in their voices. Eventually, Sarah's voice came through, but completely different from her usual bright, confident tone. Her voice was small and trembling, barely audible. Sarah, Amanda said, her voice now cold, devoid of the warmth she had once felt for her daughter-in-law. Please explain. Chloe says she doesn't know anything about the money, and David says he knows nothing either. A long, agonizing silence continued. Amanda held her breath, waiting, her heart pounding a furious rhythm against her ribs. I'm sorry. Sarah's voice came through in fragments, punctuated by stifled sobs. I was lying. The blood drained from Amanda's body, leaving her cold and numb. Lying? What do you mean, Sarah? I didn't give Chloe a single dollar. Sarah's voice became a tearful, broken confession. The money. I used it myself. What did you use it for, Sarah? Amanda's voice became ice cold, a chilling clarity cutting through the fog of her shock. Silence again, broken only by Sarah's ragged breathing. Then Amanda could hear David's voice, sharp and accusatory, interrogating Sarah on the other end, his words harsh, unforgiving. Sarah's crying voice was also mixed in, a desperate, wailing sound. Eventually, David returned to the phone. His voice was filled with a raw, visceral anger and profound sadness, a pain that echoed Amanda's own. Mom, I'm sorry. I'm really, truly sorry, David said in a trembling voice, each word an agonizing confession. Sarah confessed. The money? It was for another man. Linda. Sarah was with another man. Amanda was speechless, utterly paralyzed by the words. The strength left her hand, and the receiver slipped from her numb fingers, hitting the carpet with a soft thud. I really didn't know anything, Mom. David's voice continued, distant and broken. I had no idea Sarah was doing such things. Behind my back. Behind all our backs. Tears overflowed from Amanda's eyes, hot and stinging, tracing paths down her cold cheeks. The family bonds she had believed in, so carefully nurtured and trusted, shattered in an instant, disintegrating into a million sharp pieces. The reality that the money she had sent with such profound love, with such a pure heart for her granddaughter's future, had been shamelessly used for betrayal, for a deceitful affair, deeply wounded her heart, tearing it into raw, exposed shreds. David, Amanda said, her voice now a hoarse whisper, raw with unshed tears and profound disillusionment. Let's end the conversation here for today. I want to be alone for a while. I need to process this. Mom, I'm really sorry, David pleaded, his voice thick with guilt and despair. If I had been more careful, more attentive. It's not your fault, David, Amanda said, summoning a last vestige of strength, her voice hollow. I'll contact you again. After hanging up, or rather after the receiver lay abandoned on the carpet, Amanda sank deep into the living room sofa, its cushions offering no comfort. The crushing weight of 2 years of calculated betrayal pressed heavily on her heart, suffocating her. That night, Amanda couldn't sleep. She sat on the living room sofa, gazing at the distant streetlights outside, their faint glow doing little to pierce the darkness within her. She reflected on the events of the past 2 years, replaying every conversation, every smile, every seemingly sincere thank you from Sarah, seeing them now through the chilling lens of deception. Sarah's tearful voice, David's shocked voice, and most of all, Chloe's confused, innocent voice repeatedly echoed in her head, a tormenting loop of disbelief. The next morning, around 8 a.m., David called. Having talked all night, his voice sounded utterly exhausted, raw from emotional strain. Mom, sorry about last night. I talked with Sarah. She confessed everything. So, can I come over now? I need to tell you everything. Yes, please come, David, Amanda answered quietly, her voice still fragile, but with a new determination to face the truth, no matter how ugly. An hour later, David came to Amanda's house alone. He wasn't wearing his usual crisp work clothes, but a wrinkled shirt and jeans, as if he'd simply pulled on the first things he found. His eyes were bloodshot and red-rimmed, clearly having not slept all night, and his face was etched with a profound weariness and sorrow. Mom, please sit and listen, David said, his voice flat, emotionless. He sat down heavily on the living room sofa, his posture conveying a deep defeat. Amanda sat in the armchair across from him, bracing herself, and waited for her son's painful words. 2 years ago, Sarah met a man at work, David began painfully, his voice a strained whisper, as if each word was physically hurting him. A sporting goods store manager named Mark Jensen. Amanda listened silently, her gaze unwavering, her heart a cold, hard stone in her chest. At first, he was apparently just a customer who came into the boutique frequently, but as he came repeatedly and showered her with attention, they became close. Too close. David clenched his fists, his knuckles white. Sarah was feeling dissatisfied that I was so busy with work, always working late, and she felt I was neglecting the family, neglecting her. So, she started an affair, Amanda said calmly, the words tasting bitter on her tongue, but spoken with a cold, clear understanding. Yes, David confirmed, his voice thick with resentment. But that man, Mark, he was a big spender. Expensive restaurant meals, weekend trips to luxury resorts, brand-name presents. Sarah's part-time wages weren't nearly enough to keep up with his lifestyle, or the lavish expectations he set. He quickly drained her own savings. Anger mixed into David's voice, a raw, burning fury. Amanda's chest ached, a sharp physical pain. So she thought of using me. It wasn't a question. It was a bleak, undeniable conclusion. That's right, Mom, David confirmed, his voice filled with self-loathing. She knew that if it was for Chloe's college expenses, you would gladly provide it. She knew you wouldn't question it, because your love for Chloe is so pure, so unconditional. David stood up and walked to the window, staring out at the vibrant autumn trees, as if seeking solace in the indifferent landscape. Sarah, she took advantage of your love for your granddaughter, and your trust in me. She created a separate bank account, not for Chloe, but for herself. And every month, she would take your money and spend it on Mark Jensen. I really didn't know anything, Mom, David repeated, his voice raw, turning back to face her, his eyes pleading for her understanding. Sarah did mention that Mother Amanda was worried about Chloe's expenses, but she always said it was just general concern, never that you were sending financial support. She twisted your words to ease her own guilt, to make me complacent. She said you knew, too. Amanda reflected on Sarah's words from the night before, her careful reassurances. That was also a lie, David. She used my name to reassure you, to weave a more convincing web of deceit around both of us. David sank back down onto the sofa, running a hand through his disheveled hair. Mom, I'm really sorry. If I had paid more attention to the family, if I hadn't been so focused on work, maybe I would have noticed something. I'm not blaming you, David, Amanda said gently, though her heart was still reeling. But how did she hide such a large amount of money? How did she manage to keep this secret for 2 years? David sighed, his shoulders slumping. Sarah said it was an account just for Chloe, but actually she had created a personal account in her own name, one I had no knowledge of. I left all household management to Sarah, so I didn't know about that account's existence either. It was meticulously planned, Mom. She covered her tracks, very deliberately. Amanda shook her head, a profound sadness settling over her. It was indeed planned. The man, Mark, he also apparently knew Sarah had access to money. He manipulated her, exploiting her insecurities, her perceived neglect. The two of them stayed at luxury hotels, took extravagant trips to the Caribbean, dined at exclusive restaurants. While I was working late overtime, building my career, trying to provide for our family, Sarah was spending luxurious time with another man, funded by your generosity. David's voice shook with a visceral pain, a deep-seated betrayal. Where's Sarah now? Amanda asked, her voice flat, devoid of emotion. She went back to her parents' house, Mom, David replied, his eyes hollow. Last night, after she told me everything, after she confessed the full extent of her lies, I told her to get out of the house. I've decided to divorce her. There's no coming back from this. David showed an utterly exhausted expression, the weight of the decision crushing him. Amanda supported her son's decision, though a profound sadness about the family's collapse. The disintegration of what she believed was a perfect unit washed over her. Have you told Chloe yet? Not yet, David replied, his voice heavy. But I have to. Chloe was deceived, too. She needs to know the truth. David sighed deeply, bracing himself for the next painful conversation. Just then, the front doorbell rang, a jarring sound in the heavy silence. David got up and went to the entrance where Chloe was standing, her face etched with worry. She seemed to have rushed from the university, out of breath, her eyes wide with apprehension. Dad, where's Mom? She hasn't answered her phone since last night, and she's not at home. I've been so worried. Chloe, come in, dear, Amanda called out, her voice gentle, beckoning her granddaughter into the living room. When the three gathered in the living room, David, with profound sadness and immense difficulty, explained everything to his daughter. Chloe's reaction was a painful progression. First confusion, then a searing anger that flashed in her eyes, and finally, a deep, heartbreaking sadness. Mom was deceiving Grandma? Tears welled up in Chloe's eyes, glistening. Using my name? My college education? Yes, sweetie, David said, his voice breaking, as he hugged his daughter tightly. She took advantage of your grandmother's incredible love for you, and her immense trust. Chloe turned toward Amanda, her eyes overflowing with tears. Grandma, I'm really, truly sorry. I had no idea any of this was happening. I can't believe Mom would do this to you, to us. You have nothing to apologize for, darling, Amanda said, her own eyes brimming, as she reached out to take her granddaughter's trembling hand. You're a victim in this too, Chloe. An innocent bystander in a cruel game. But because of what Mom did, Grandma suffered so much. Chloe began to cry uncontrollably, her young voice filled with a raw, innocent anguish that was almost unbearable to witness. For the next several hours, the three of them talked, openly, painfully, honestly. As the intricate details of Sarah's 2-year betrayal became horrifyingly clear, its calculated, malicious, and utterly selfish nature was revealed in stark detail. Every month, Sarah would receive the $1,000 from Amanda, ostensibly for Chloe's college needs, and immediately siphon it off, using it for lavish expenses with Mark Jensen. It was spent on outrageously expensive restaurant meals, weekend trips to exclusive resorts, designer brand-name items, and luxury cosmetics, all while David worked late overtime, believing he was providing for his family, and Amanda believed she was helping her beloved granddaughter. While I was working late overtime, tirelessly trying to build a future for our family, Sarah was spending luxurious time with another man, funded by my own mother's generosity. David pounded his fist on the coffee table, a furious, frustrated sound that echoed in the room. Using Grandma's goodwill, her pure, selfless love, Chloe said in a trembling voice, tears still streaming down her face. I despise Mom for trampling on Grandma's love like this. How could she? What is Sarah doing now? Amanda asked, her voice hollow, her heart feeling heavy, bruised. She seems to have gone to Mark's place for now, David replied, a bitter, cynical smile twisting his lips. But he was apparently only after money, too. While Sarah had the funds coming in, he was attentive, charming, a devoted lover. But when this was discovered, and he realized no more money would come in, no more free trips or expensive gifts, he's already become unreachable. He blocked her calls, refused to answer his door. According to Sarah's sister, she's completely alone, cut off. Amanda had mixed feelings. She felt a profound anger and sadness for the betrayal, but at the same time, a flicker of pity for Sarah, who, in the end, had lost everything. She brought it on herself, Mom, David said coldly, his voice hard, unforgiving. Your trust, her marriage to me, her relationship with Chloe, and she was abandoned by the money-seeking man, too. She gambled everything and lost. Chloe stood up, wiping her tears, a new resolve in her eyes. Grandma, I'll increase my part-time work hours, and I'll pay back the money little by little, every single penny. It's the least I can do. You don't need to do that, darling, Amanda said gently, her voice thick with emotion, reaching out to cup Chloe's face. You focus on your studies. You and David and me, the real family, the ones who truly love and trust each other. We're here. That's what matters most. That bond is priceless. Amanda looked around at her son and granddaughter, their faces still etched with pain, but also with a newfound closeness, a shared understanding forged in the crucible of betrayal. She had indeed lost a large sum of money, a significant portion of Robert's legacy, and had been profoundly betrayed by a family member she trusted with all her heart. But the people who were truly important, the ones whose love was genuine, were still here. Her son's honesty, her granddaughter's purity, and the true love and resilience between them could not be damaged, could not be eroded by Sarah's calculated betrayal. That night, the three had dinner together. The conversation was heavy, punctuated by long silences, but they could feel the warmth of a family supporting each other, drawing strength from their shared bond. It was a quieter, more subdued warmth than before, but infinitely more real. A year later, Amanda was tending flowers in her vibrant garden, the spring air fresh and crisp around her. New buds were swelling on the rose bush that her late husband, Robert, had planted all those years ago, a symbol of enduring love and renewal. The traumatic events that had occurred last autumn seemed, in some ways, like a distant, unpleasant dream, a dark cloud that had passed. But the days since then had certainly deepened the bonds between Amanda and her remaining family. David and Sarah's divorce was finalized 6 months ago. Sarah, abandoned by her affair partner, Mark, and shunned by many in her social circle, was now reportedly living alone in a rural town in her hometown, having lost everything of value, both material and emotional. Amanda had, surprisingly, found herself letting go of her deep anger toward Sarah. She had realized that continuing to harbor hatred would only hurt herself, poisoning her own peace and spirit. It was a quiet forgiveness, born not of condoning the actions, but of choosing her own serenity. "Grandma, I'm here!" Chloe's bright, cheerful voice rang out in the garden, a welcome sound that always brought a smile to Amanda's face. Looking back, Chloe was waving with a wide, radiant smile, her backpack slung casually over one shoulder. She had started visiting Amanda's house every weekend without fail, their time together even more precious and cherished than before. "Chloe, good work, darling. How was the exam?" Amanda asked, gently brushing soil from her hands. Perfect, Grandma. And my astrophysics practicum report got top marks too, Chloe said proudly, her green eyes sparkling with accomplishment. I'm also making really good preparations for next year's job hunting. I have an interview at a prestigious lab in California next month. Amanda was genuinely pleased, her heart swelling with boundless pride. After that painful incident, Chloe had actually become even more focused on her studies, channeling her emotional turmoil into academic excellence. The sense of responsibility, the quiet determination that I must be strong and independent, had made her grow even more, blossoming into a remarkably resilient and self-possessed young woman. Oh, and Grandma, I have some truly amazing news. Chloe's eyes sparkled with uncontainable excitement. I'm getting a full scholarship for graduate school at Caltech, through a dean's recommendation. Full tuition waiver, living stipend, everything. Wonderful, Amanda exclaimed, hugging her granddaughter tightly, tears of joy pricking her eyes. It's the result of your incredible hard work, my brilliant girl. It's thanks to you too, Grandma, Chloe whispered, her voice soft but sincere. After that incident, I learned what's really important. It made me realize that integrity and genuine connection are worth more than any amount of money. While preparing tea in the kitchen, Chloe talked animatedly about her recent developments. Her relationships with university friends were strong and supportive, and she was continuing to date Noah smoothly, their bond deepening as they navigated the complexities of life together. How's your father doing? Amanda asked, a gentle probe. He's working hard, Grandma, Chloe replied, her gaze drifting out the window, a thoughtful expression on her face. But he seems a little lonely sometimes. I think he's thinking about Mom. It's been tough for him. After the divorce, David had undeniably become more family-oriented, his priorities shifting. He worked less overtime than before and always made sure to carve out time to spend weekends with Amanda and Chloe. Approaching 40, he was clearly reconsidering his life priorities, seeking a deeper sense of fulfillment beyond his career. In the evening, David joined them, and the three had dinner together. The conversation was natural, flowing easily and warm, without the forced brightness or underlying tension of before. It was a genuine connection. Mom, I actually have something to discuss, David said after finishing dinner, looking at Amanda with a determined expression. There's talk of a promotion at work, and my salary is expected to increase significantly. That's good news, David, Amanda smiled, truly happy for him. So, David continued, his voice resolute, I want to pay you back for everything, little by little. Every penny you sent. That's not necessary, David. Amanda shook her head gently. That money was given out of my love for you all. Even though I was deceived, that feeling was genuine. It was a gift, not a loan. Chloe raised her hand, her eyes serious. And I'm going to start a higher-paying part-time job soon too, Grandma, so let me help a little with paying you back. I appreciate your feelings, both of you. Amanda looked at them, her heart overflowing with love and gratitude for their earnestness. But you've learned this past year that there are things far more important than money, haven't you? That was certainly true. The money lost through Sarah's betrayal was a painful, significant loss, a wound that would never fully disappear. But in its place, they had gained something even more invaluable. True, unbreakable family bonds, a deeper trust in each other, and the resilient strength to overcome profound difficulties together. But Grandma, Chloe became serious, her young face wise beyond her years. We support each other. That's what family is, right? Not just about money, but emotionally too. We're in this together. Amanda felt a profound surge of pride at her granddaughter's growth, at her mature, insightful thinking. I understand, darling, Amanda said, her voice soft with affection. But don't overdo it. Just focus on your incredible future. That night, the three relaxed in the living room, watching a classic movie together, a quiet sense of contentment filling the air. Amanda thought that if not for that fateful phone call a year ago, that moment of raw, shocking truth, she might never have learned the devastating truth about Sarah. She might never have understood the true, profound value of family that transcended mere financial comfort or superficial appearances. The betrayal had been agonizingly painful, a shattering blow. but it had also delivered invaluable, life-altering lessons. Family, she realized, is not just connected by blood, by shared last names or inherited homes, but by unbreakable bonds of the heart, by trust forged in adversity. And true love, the kind that endures, becomes stronger, more resilient, and more profound through trials, through the pain of deceit, through the rediscovery of genuine connection. Outside the window, the gentle spring wind scattered delicate cherry blossom petals, a soft, silent rain of new beginnings, like the beginning of a vibrant new season. New happiness, richer and more authentic, was about to visit Amanda's family. The wounds of the past might never completely heal, leaving faint, subtle scars, but hope for the future was certainly budding, blossoming with renewed strength and clarity. "Grandma, thank you," Chloe whispered before going to sleep that night, her voice soft with affection, as Amanda tucked her into the guest bed. "Thank you for being our family." Amanda gently stroked her granddaughter's head, her heart full. She truly felt that real family, true bonds, are connected by something that cannot be measured with money, cannot be bought or sold, and cannot be broken by betrayal. It was a bond of unconditional love, resilience, and unwavering support, and it was everything.